decide whether or not we wanted to import it or delete it and have them resend new data. Another benefit was the ASN side of it. The old system, basically, the process was long. It was a bunch of gray screens with just data entry fields. If you messed up at any point during the whole process, you had to start over again from scratch. The best part about the Edisoft system was because it was so visual, I saw exactly what was packed into boxes. I saw the exact fields that I was filling in. And once again, one great benefit was I could see the data before I sent it. So basically, I could actually generate the document and view it to make sure that it was correct, that all the fields were populating properly before I sent it. The other problem with...
Sorry, Chris, I'm just going to move the slide here for your benefit because I know you're going to get into some more detail about certain key benefits. So I'm just going to move it forward, and that way it'll be a focal point for the audience as you continue your discussions.
Yeah, completely understood. So another thing that we were looking at was the documents coming in and out easily. What we would see is that we could retransmit documents at any time we wanted, so we could create the ASNs in advance and not actually send them. So that would save some labor for an employee who knew exactly what was shipping out in advance. She or he could create all the ASNs in advance and have them sit and then send out the ones that actually shipped. So some of the great benefits, as Kelvin has brought up here, the ease of use versus the old system. The Edisoft system is a real simple, straightforward program. When you open the merchant, it's got basically radio buttons across the top that say what it's going to do. You know, connect, send, receive, invoice, purchase order, ASN, shipping, just real simple buttons. So you can just open it up for the first time and kind of know exactly what each button is basically going to hold. You know, the invoice button is going to hold all your invoices that you're getting to send out. The shipping notice button is going to hold all your ASN information. The send and receive button is going to hold all yours. It's going to have all your send and receive data that you just received today or yesterday or the day before. The windows that open up from there have tabs that allow you to see old documents, new documents, documents that had errors, documents that are pending to be posted. So just real high visibility for users. The visual ASN side of it, like I said before, a real graphical interface. It allows the individual people to see exactly what's being packed into a particular carton. So if cartons need to be packed a specific way, you can actually see what you're going to pack into there. Or if you have predefined packing requirements, say your customer requires that you pack things in a certain order, you can set that program up to automatically pack that way. And it'll basically, you hit that button, that rule, it takes charge, it automatically packs all your cartons and makes all your labels for you. So what happens is that allows me to have fewer employees doing the EDI process. So I can have, like right now, I have one dedicated person who does all the ASN documentation. I have one dedicated person who does all the ins and outs, and then I have obviously the accounting staff that has to do the accounting side of it. But basically, real simple for them. It took me maybe 30 minutes in a training session to learn the individual parts for each person, and then at that point they were pretty much masters of using the system. The other great part of the system was on the old system, we basically had van fees, which was through GXS, and then we had the actual EDI company who charged us a maintenance fee, and then the programming company who charged us a maintenance fee. So I had essentially 3 different sets of fees for one operation. When we converted over to Edisoft, what happened was we essentially eliminated the programmer because they were part of Edisoft. We eliminated the additional administrator because that was all part of Edisoft. So now I only have 2 sets. I have my van fees, which you're going to pay anyways because that's just the van service. And depending on who you use, GXS and Novus have merged, so they're one company now. And then you have basically Edisoft, who is responsible for everything in your maintenance. So if you have a problem, you can go there. Issues with billing, you can go to them directly. There's no confusion between who's in charge of what. So at that point, we were saving, I believe we were saving about $1,300. At some points, we were saving overall, I think, $3,500 a year in just fees, just for them. And that's not including the chargebacks that we were receiving weekly that we weren't getting paid for. Just additional in and out fees from having to retransmit documents over and over again because of the system's inability to do it. Edisoft basically relieved a lot of those problems for us, and at one point, now what we do is, since we're so comfortable with their system, we've actually used it as a marketing aspect to our company. You know, we can support any EDI document, EDI transaction. We can do 3PL, you know, third-party lending or third-party warehousing, drop ships, and that's actually become a nice part of our presentation. And in fact, one of our customers, Decker's Outdoor Corporation, now wants us to be their first domestic EDI vendor to provide EDI services for them and third-party warehousing for drop shipping to their customers. We've also expanded a couple of our relationships with a couple of customers. One, Rockport, had actually called in and asked us, who we use for EDI because they want to recommend it to their vendors who are coming onto their system. And a lot of that's the benefit that we received from the system. Greater presence now with our customers. There's a lot more respect in our industry for what we do because we can actually support all these documents flawlessly. There's no errors. There's occasional errors, but those are simple fixed usually before the end of the day. Documents are reset within a couple hours. That goes into the next part, reliability. So far, we've never had downtime with the Edisoft program. It's always been 100% up. Any time that we've had an issue, it's normally something new that we've done with a new customer, such as a particular field that wasn't filled out in a particular way according to customer specs. But we were able to call into our support and our developer, who was Paul LeBlanc, who is our dedicated EDI implementation manager, and he was able to walk us through the solution and teach us how to fix it in the future, and we never had that problem again.
Now, Chris, maybe just to take a moment here, if you can share with the audience, I guess, some of the metrics you used with regards to time savings. Looking at.
Yeah, well, some of the time savings we're looking at is comparative to the old system for invoicing. Because of Dillard's, who's the one customer that always takes the invoices, they require a special invoice called a consolidated invoice. So what we have to do is take all the invoices for a particular PO and make them into one large invoice. On the old system, we had to do that manually because the system would not support it. So that would take my one accounting person 1 to 2 hours to generate that invoice because she had to basically go through MAS, export all the data, total them up, make sure all the quantities matched, and then make a dummy invoice basically that had to be credited out of the system later, and then submit that one through the EDI system. Now, Edisoft handles the consolidation for us. So on the invoicing side, it takes her a total of 2 minutes to basically consolidate the invoice. She goes in, selects the rule, consolidates, and the document is out. So alone, we have one order for them a week. So that's instantly over and out. That's almost 2 hours worth of savings just in that individual alone. The other benefit is because the system can generate invoices from the ASNs, which most of our EDI customers use, she no longer has to generate those invoices through the MAS90 auto-generate invoice selection for large customers like our Strider. She can just go in, select that range of ASNs, and send those invoices out. So essentially no time there. An overall cost benefit for her basically is we're saving 3 to 4 hours a week just in her for the ASN side of it. Like I said before, our previous system, if you had messed up one step, you had to start over from scratch. This new system, because it is so visual and easy to track, she is saving on average probably 3 to 4 hours in just ASNs on particular customers and probably saving 8 to 10 hours a week overall in ASN development. So there's a lot of labor savings there for employees, and I'm able now to use those people instead of hiring new clerical staff to do other tasks that weren't being done before. So now instead of hiring a new labor force, I can basically reallocate certain EDI staff to perform the functions that I would have needed to possibly have a new person for. So I save on having to hire new people, new overhead.
Now, Chris, I know we're kind of coming close to the half-hour mark here, and I want to have an opportunity to sort of open the forum to questions from some of the attendees. But before we do that, I just had one last question I wanted to put forward. What would you tell other potential prospects or people that would be looking at working with Edisoft if they were to ask you, your opinion on the company?
Overall, it's been a great experience with Edisoft. I referenced the old EDI person because we had such a bad experience with them. Compared to the old system, Edisoft essentially walked us through the whole process. They made us feel very comfortable in our experience because this was really the first time we had gotten very dedicated into EDI. They walked us through the process. They explained what each document does. They gave us basically the process that they follow to get their proof of concept to get the system working. They showed us exactly what they'd be doing and what they needed from us. If we had questions or concerns of just what things were, they were quick to explain it. Response time was incredibly fast. I was getting responses sometimes within an hour of sending an email and no later than the end of the day. I highly recommend to whoever I meet. I've actually, like I said before, one customer actually called us and asked us who we used, and we recommended Edisoft to them for new people going into EDI because of such great experience we had using them.